Hello, and welcome to Functional Skills Maths. Today we're looking at the level 1 topic of averages, and in particular the topics of mean and range. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, so this is on the syllabus criteria point 29, but it's quite a useful topic to help us begin to understand the topic of averages. It is perhaps the most common way that average is calculated for a variety of different things. And so that's what we're going to start with by looking at the mean. So what is it? Well, in general, this is a fairly simple definition here. So we add up all of the numbers and then we divide by how many numbers there are. Let's have a look at that with an example. So if we were asked, for instance, to find the mean of this set of numbers, what we would do is we would add them all up. So 3 plus 8 plus 4 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4 plus 1. And we would find that that equals 40. And then what we do is we count up how many numbers there are. So we go, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what we'd do is 40 divided by 8. And that gives us 5. So the mean of that set of numbers is 5. And that is how we work out the mean average. So just going to give you a couple of examples here that you can try to practice this with. I'll bring them up on screen and give you a minute or so to work them out. Would be helpful if you press pause on your video whilst you're looking at these, and then I'll bring the answers up shortly. So 3 examples here to try, A, B, and C. Press pause now and try and find the mean of each of these. Okay, how did you do? So the answer for A is 10, because it's 60 divided by 6. The answer for B is 25, so that's 125 divided by 5. And then the answer for C is 20, because that's 120 divided by 6. Did you get them? I hope so. But if not, then just pause the video again now and just have another go at adding up some of those numbers just to make sure that you got the right total. Okay, where we might see this, as I mentioned, it is probably the most common type of average that we use. We see this everywhere, to be honest, but one example, for instance, is consumer ratings. If we're looking on Trustpilot or on Amazon for customer reviews, anything like that, then they often use the mean, which is just what we've been looking at. So here, for example, we've got different ratings that were given to, let's say, a particular product. So person 1 gave it 8 out of 10, person 2 gave it 6 out of 10, person 3 gave it 5 out of 10, and so on. So how do we work out the average? Well, just as before. And once again, I will let you have a go. So please just pause the video, take a moment to work out what you think the mean average is here. Okay, so how did you do? Did you get this answer? 7? So it was, when you added them all together, it was 35. And of course, 5 people there, so 35 divided by 5 gives us a mean average of 7. And so on Trustpilot or on Amazon, wherever, we might see that the product has an overall rating of 7 out of 10. And this would be an example of how that can be calculated. Okay, that covers the mean average. We're now going to look at range. Range is not an average, but is often grouped, certainly in the exams, within the same sort of question. So range, anyway, is from biggest to smallest. So, for example, if we have a set of numbers here, what we're doing is we're going to look for the biggest number and we're going to look for the smallest number, and then we're going to subtract one from the other. So the biggest number is 98. The smallest number is 10. And so the range is then 98 minus 10, which gives us 88. So that's how the range works. Find the biggest number, find the smallest number, and take it away from that biggest number. So here's a couple of examples up on the screen. I'm just going to pause the video here and give you a chance just to work those out. So please get your pens and papers at the ready, and have a go at working these out, and we'll run through the answers shortly. Okay, so the answer for A is 24, because the biggest was 41, the smallest was 17. The answer for B was 16, it's 44, subtract 28. And the answer for C is 88, because that's 99, take away 11. Okay, now why do we use range? Well, it helps us to understand consistency, really. So here's the temperature forecast for next week, let's say, in some part of the world, I'm sure. All in the 20s. What is the range? Well, the biggest temperature is 22, smallest is 20. So subtracting one from the other gives us a range of 2. So this is very consistent, and lets us, predict and plan for the week ahead with quite some degree of certainty, hopefully. And then secondly, we might see this completely different if we have a look at a business example here, which has the following income streams from different clients. So client 1 brings £1,500 into the business, client 2, £9,500, client 3, 2,200, and so on. So once again, just I'm going to pause the video. Can you work out the range of income here? Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to work that out now, and you'll see that the biggest one there was 9,500. The smallest one was 250. So that gives us a range of £9,250. Now that is very inconsistent and quite difficult to know what's coming next, really. Client 6, who knows what client 6 would bring in? Would it be something little like £250, or would it be really big like £9,500? So that's one thing that range helps us to understand is consistency. And in this particular case, it might help the business owner decide whether to focus on a particular client group or whatnot. So those are some things worth thinking about. And if you ask for an explanation of range, then consistency is a good word to think about. How consistent is this scenario? There is one further consideration of range, is that if the smallest number is a negative number, what happens then? Let's look at this set of 4 numbers here. So the biggest number is 15, the smallest number is -5. So if we follow the usual pattern, biggest take away the smallest, what we end up having is minus minus. So 15 minus -5. Now that equals 20. Because as you may have heard, when you minus a minus, it becomes a positive. So you have to add it. The way that I quite like to think about it is with a thermometer. And I think to myself, well, 15, I'd treat that as a positive temperature. 15 is it's not that warm, is it really? But it's kind of in the warm zone. if we're looking on the thermometer, we're sort of up around this mark here, sort of between the 10 and the 20, 15 degrees. And then the -5, well, that's actually all the way down to 0, and then another 5 steps past 0. So we've got, we're -5 now, we're 5 degrees below 0. So what I could do is, imagine that I've got a thermometer and then simply count the steps in between those two numbers. So from -5 to get back up to 0 is 5 steps. And then I've got the other 15 steps from 0 to the positive 15 temperature. Give me a total of 20 steps in all. So hopefully one of those two ways of thinking about dealing with negative numbers will help you here. Have a look at this question and see if you can work out the answer for this. I'll just give you a few seconds of the I'll pause, but you can pause for longer. Okay, then have a look at this one as well. We'll run through the answers for both in just a moment. Okay, so the first one was a range of 55, because the biggest number is 35 and the smallest is -20. And then second one there is 39 minus -32, gives us a range of 71. So remember, the principle is still the same. When we're minus and a minus, it becomes a positive. So we need to add it. And the range will always be positive. You are never going to have a negative range. So that might help as well if there's any confusion about whether to add a minus in front of the range or not. The range is always positive. So in summary, the mean, add up all the numbers and divide by how many there are. And the range is biggest, take away the smallest. If you've got any queries or questions, then please do watch this video through again, and hopefully you'll find the answers with a second watching. But otherwise, please feel free to contact myself or your tutor, and we'll be happy to help you get to grips with this topic. All right, take care for now.